Hello, I'm ABX Toycat, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be comparing the PC version of Minecraft to the Pocket Edition, and letting you know about the biggest differences between the two, because a lot of people have statistically only played the Pocket Edition, according to sales data, and also, if you have a Windows 10 PC, you might be confused as to whether you should get the Windows 10 or Pocket Edition version of the game, or the PC version, and this video is going to kind of let you know about the biggest differences between the two, so please do like it if you do like it, because it helps out the channel a lot, and lets me know you do like it, and we'll see more stuff like this on the channel. Anyway, let's get straight into the video by just starting with probably one of the biggest points here, which has to be the mobs. So the mobs are one of the biggest part of Minecraft. They're the thing that fill the world with you, and on the Pocket Edition, unlike the console version, there's always a slight quirk in between, that make them different to the PC version on the same mob. And you might be like, so what do you mean by quirk there? So basically, I'll give you a few examples, but every mob has something a little bit different about it. So, for instance, if you look at a zombie, it still has a chance of dropping a feather, even though it drops from flesh now. That's an old school PC thing that they removed a long time ago, but they decided to keep it on the Pocket Edition because zombies dropping feathers seems natural. For instance, you can only find wolves naturally spawning as full-grown wolves on the console and PC. On the Pocket Edition, you can actually find puppies just out in the wild. Same goes for squid. You can find baby squid, and there's a bunch of just small things like this. And there's even a Pocket Edition exclusive mob in the form of the cave spider jockey. So you get a bunch of weird things. Snow golems. You can shear off their heads and just see them without a pumpkin on. A bunch of really, really weird, cool things. Varies from mob to mob. But you will notice slight differences in mobs. If you're used to their particular AI, there's usually slight differences there, and it just means they feel a little bit different. A Pocket Edition Enderman is slightly different to a PC Enderman. A Pocket Edition Blaze is slightly different to a PC Blaze, and there's even, the Pocket Edition exclusive mob. So you might look at this and think, oh, well, that's until they update it, right? But it looks like they intend to keep on doing it this way, because they're going to be adding rabbits in this next update, or if you might be watching this after that's come out, but basically they're going to be adding rabbits, but they're going to be changing them quite a bit. They're going to make them have less health, they're going to make them be smaller, spawn in specific biomes only, they clearly intend to keep on having little unique things about the mobs, and I think that's kind of interesting, and it's one of the things they're doing. So one of the biggest differences between the Pocket Edition and the PC version has to be the mobs. The second biggest difference, and this is one that will hit you as soon as you start playing the game, is the controls. So the Pocket Edition controls are technically more comprehensive because it has support for controllers, it has support for keyboard, and it of course has the touch controls. But when it comes to the default method of control, if you're playing the PC version, you're at a PC, so you probably have your keyboard and mouse, which is generally, I'd say, by 99.9% people, accept to be a better control scheme than the touch. Because when you're using touch controls, you don't know when your finger's on the D-pad, you don't know when it's slightly slipped off until it just doesn't work in the game, and there's slight issues with touch controls. However, if you're using a keyboard or a controller anyway, I'd argue it's better, because, there is controller support on the PC, that still isn't a thing, whereas on the Pocket Edition, it's a thing you can do. So if you're playing the Windows 10 edition, you could argue you have more options as far as controls go than the PC, but you just have to bear in mind it's different. The PC actually has more controls available to it as well. There's an auto sprint command, there's a pick block command, whereas on the Pocket Edition you just don't have access to that stuff. So controls work differently, and there's even some things you can only do on the PC, which makes it a very unique thing, but it is worth noting the controls are one of the biggest differences that you'll notice, and the responsiveness of them on the PC I find is just better, but that's just obviously my opinion there. So next up we have the creative menu. So the creative menu actually varies quite a bit between the PC and the Pocket Edition, and I actually prefer the Pocket Edition one to some extent, because although it doesn't have search, which is a really big PC exclusive, what it does have is it has access to more items. So for instance, if you want an enchantment, you can have access to all of the enchantments. It's not just, you have to get the max level. So if you want to get sharpness 2, there's a book for it there, and it saves you so much time if you're trying to do specific things, and although that's not everyone, that's like 1 in every 1,000 people, it's still a nice little touch. So I like that there is access to each individual enchanted book and each individual potion. Very, very nice creative menu change there. Obviously there's a few less blocks in it, but as far as the menu itself goes, I find it to be slightly more usable in the Pocket Edition, but knowing the categories is going to be different, because there's something like 10 categories on PC and 4 on the Pocket Edition, if I'm right, which means you need to know where everything is, but I'd argue once you're used to it, it might be easier then. But it is one of the biggest differences. So number 4 here has to be the cool uniques you'll find on the Pocket Edition. So the PC version has unique features, but they're unique features that are unique because, they haven't been picked up by other versions yet. But the Pocket Edition just has a bunch of weird stuff that, although some of it's being picked up by the PC, it's just happening the way it does. So for instance, the mobs are one of the big examples, but outside of mobs, there's also, just a few unique things about the game. So for instance, it has the nice little bonus of when you find you find a mesa biome, you'll find above ground strongholds that spawn gold. When you find an NPC village that's on the water, instead of just, being in this really annoying place where the villagers are trapped and you have to, make a ladder up, instead there'll just be bridges around the place. And there's a lot of really nice changes like this. For instance, blacksmith chests have a chance to find emeralds in them, which makes sense for a village. Like, what's he going to store in the chest besides, just the stuff? Of course he stores emeralds. There's a lot of, really nice changes they make to the game, and you'll notice one every now and then and be like, that's pretty cool. Like, when you just come across, a fallen tree, it's just a nice little change they make. The swamps, for instance, they look way better. Every time I run across one, I find it kind of nice. I think, in general, pretty much all exclusive features are really good things that, might be on the PC eventually, but if they're not, I just think the Pocket Edition has a lot of really nice exclusives, and, again, the PC kind of has exclusives, but only because they haven't been picked up yet. So, just something to bear in mind there, the Pocket Edition does have a lot of cool, unique features, and if you do play the PC exclusively, and you're like, is the Windows 10 worth picking up? Maybe give it a try just to see some of that stuff, because, there is a lot of unique, genuine features, which I think are quite cool. Next up, we have the difference between servers. So, if you're, it might seem like a weird thing, but Minecraft has entirely different servers on the Pocket Edition than it does on the PC, and obviously if you played Minecraft for a bit, that makes sense. They're different versions of the game, but if you're new to the game, you may be like, wait, so if I'm on the PC, I can play my PC version and get one set of servers, or the Windows 10 version and get a different set? But yeah, the reason for this is because the Pocket Edition is an entirely separate game, written in an entirely separate language. It's written in C++, I believe, instead of Java for the PC version, and basically as a result of that, we end up in this situation where they can't really share servers right now. In the long term, they will be sharing servers, but right now they won't. And generally speaking, PC servers are known to be better, not only because you have access to realms right now, but also because the servers that do exist have existed for 5 years, and they've kind of refined it, they've made it work really well. If you want to find a PC server for insert thing here, you can probably do it, and there's probably a massive server for it with thousands of people. On the Pocket Edition, there is a few big servers. There is, your Lifeboat with 40,000 and your Hypixel with several thousand, but there aren't that many big servers. It's in the number of servers, that are above, 100 people, let's say, is in the dozens as opposed to the hundreds or the thousands. So something to bear in mind there. Minecraft servers are entirely different across the PC and the Pocket Edition or the Windows 10 edition, and I'd argue on the PC version they're better, but it's a unique thing. Like the Pocket Edition servers, they do occasionally have a thing that the PC ones don't. It's a difference, and that's what today's video is about. So next up, number 6 here has to be the skin system. So the skin system, I think, is arguably just universally better on the PC, but it does have to be different on the Pocket Edition because basically, obviously if you're playing on a phone, you don't have access to the website. So basically the first big difference is if you want to put a new skin on, instead of going to the website and doing it, you can do it straight from the game. So you go to Google, you download your skin file, then you put it in the game directly from your device. You can argue this is easier, harder, whatever that is. The one unique thing that makes it really, really weird here is that there are skin packs on the Pocket Edition, and these skin packs are very, very, they're $1, so it's not expensive, but they're expensive what they are. They're $1 for like 13 skins, sometimes like 18 skins, and it kind of makes for a weird thing. If you want to just pay and have access to skins, that's cool, but I really don't see the purpose of them personally, unless you're just lazy, because, if you want a customized skin, it's probably not going to be one of the 13 in that skin pack. I don't know, that's just my kind of opinion here. The weird thing about it to me is it means that if you want to save a skin in the game, you have to use these skin packs, so they kind of offer service there. It's very, very bizarre, this whole skin pack system. It's kind of like emulating the console one, but in smaller bundles. I don't know what I really think about it, but I will say the PC version is just, you upload the file, it's there, it's done, and that's cool. I will say the Pocket Edition has potential to be better, but there's, some microtransactions involved. If you hate those, then you will have to bear in mind it is indeed a thing. It's a pretty good form of the thing, but it's still the thing, and I'm going to stop saying the thing. But let's move on to number 7 here. Lucky number 7, which has to be the graphical options. So yeah, the way the game looks is of course different. They have different hues, but the actual options you can play around with are very different too. So for instance, you can make it so water looks like it's still all the time. You can change the render distance in a very different way to the PC, where it's kind of like, go from tiny to far. On the Windows 10 edition, you even have access to a 256 chunk render distance, which, that doesn't sound like too much when you're like, oh, 256 chunks, that's not too far, right? But that is actually 4,000 blocks in every direction, and it blows your mind to look at. So, yeah, the graphics options are very different, of course, on the PC and the Pocket Edition. Again, you can argue the PC is better, you can argue the Pocket Edition is better. I kind of like the colors on the Pocket Edition better, but that's just me, of course. Let me know what you think, because this is the end of today's video. I hope you did all enjoy it. Let me know if you learned something in the comments down below, because that's kind of the goal behind this video and every other one on my channel. If you did like the video, let me know with a like on the video, share if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here. I make videos like this every single day on my channel, and if you subscribe, you'll see them all daily on your homepage. Thank you all for watching, have a nice day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.